Hey guys, welcome to Quad S Trading. We are going to do the live session right now. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I can hear myself, the feedback in my headset, so I'm just gonna actually like mute my headset, but hopefully you guys can still hear me. So let's have a quick look here for the trades of June the 8th up to the 12th. Now in our indicator, I was able last week to build in everything, both strategies into our indicator that had already had the other two strategies. So we had the EXT and the DV in the strategy originally, and I was able to add our BP, which just stands for big pump, and our MMP for missed monthly pivots. So let's have a look. We had tons of trades, like more than usual, especially on Monday, Tuesday. I don't know if the Chinese got the baby bonus or whatever, but those Chinese stocks were going crazy. So we're just going to do a very quick speed check on all of the trades that we did because we had some crazy returns. So let's start with CNET. And we're going to do day by day so that way if CNET pumps on 2 days, we're just going to go back on it the other day. So, okay, so on the 8th, we had, oops, so these are all my alerts here that they get posted in Discord. So essentially, stock pumps. It did two of our strategies. It did BP and the MMP. Now they both have the same trade size, same account size, same stop loss, same exits. So that's why both of these will be identical. So you only play one. So if you have, so if you're in one trade, let's say you're in a BP, usually those ones are a little bit higher, and then an MPP or a DV triggers afterwards, you only take the one trade. Okay, so BP, we exit here, 20% once you enter. So this is your entry right here. We close 20%. So same candle, boom, we would have been out right there. And then we also have our MMP. That one there is we get out at the current monthly pivot, or sorry, the SMA 200, whichever one comes first. So one was a 20% win, the other one was a 31%, but in spreadsheet, I only have the 20% win. I just have both here just so we can know that it did a BP and an MMP just for data. MTEN, this is the next one on the list on June the 8th. Let's get the load here, right here. Let's have a look. Okay, so with these ones like this, this comes in like this, it halts right here. So when the stock halts, and obviously it opened down here, we enter when it comes back to the price of the halt. Okay, so technically there was no entry right here. We would have entered back here on the limit order. Now this one here shows a 50% loss, but if you look here, our target is 130. So our target is 40% from our entry. If I get 40%, I am more than happy, right? So 40% is 130, and here's why. For me to get 50%, which would be all the way down here, roughly right here, which would be 108, the stock needs to drop 108 here, an extra 15% for me to get, to get 10%. So the longer you hold the stock, the more it kind of like is a little bit riskier because your winning ratios are not the same. So like, if a stock goes from for a stock to go from 40% win to 60% win, that extra 20% ends up being like very minimal. So just take the profit, 40%. But if you look at this one here, the low of this candle here was 130. So you may have gotten out here. The problem is you may not have. It depends on how much was actually sold here. If only a very like for this to be on TradingView, there needs to be at least 100 shares. So if it came down and 100 shares sold here, it popped and the candle came to 130 and came back up, you would not have got out of that trade. So you would have taken a 50% loss. Then over here, it pumped again. We enter on this here, and you need 20% win. So we took our profit right here. And then after that, it pumped back up again, another entry, well, minus 4.82%. Now, in the end of the day like this, I will add a no trade zone. I don't really care to trade after, let's say, 6 o'clock, 6, 7 o'clock, because there's no time for it to leave, and we close at the end of the day. So this here would not have been a trade. I'll be adding that to the next update on the indicator. EPSM, and like that, this is all based on one indicator. It tells you when to get in, when to get out. So let's go have a look here on the 8th, right? It comes up when it says armed like this, but then and then we'll see here, it means the MFP like one of the conditioner MMP got triggered, and over here it's a no trade window. So we don't trade this one here after 6 o'clock. So it'll say, hey, we're not trading this one here, but there's a BP that happened, and we took that trade and we covered at the 20% mark. If you go from here, 20%, right, the very next candle, boom, there it was. INHD, this one here, a little bit of a shitty one. I'll explain to you why. Let's have a look at it here. So we got a lot of trades in here. So we have a BP, stop out. We have an E at PCT, stop out. Then we come up here for another BP, and we're like, hey, this one here is going to be a not solid win, halt. Now, this one has been halted since January the 8th. The big problem with this one here is that if you took this position here and it halted, you're paying overnight fees every single night until this thing stops halting. Unfortunately, Sean is stuck in this one. So he is paying, a large amount of money per night, anywhere from $100 to I think it was $250 per night, to get out of this one here. But when this thing does reopen, he does have 100 shares. I think he said he's got 100 shares in here. If it comes, let's say from here down to here, let's say it opens over here, 100 shares, he's gonna be making a lot of money. Let's say minus $26. He's gonna be making $2,600. So if this thing is a news about something really bad and it closes, it opens up again up in this area here, he'll be making 3,600. So hopefully he can regain most of his losses. But this one's here, we'll have to see what happens with this one. GMM. Let's have a look here. On the 8th, which is over here. Okay. BP, right? It pumps. We got some conditions, and we close at the SMA 200 for a nice 31% win. HAO, this one here is also on the 8th. In here, right? Here's all of our pumps. It halts here. You did your limit order, so you've gone in on this candle right here, and you cover here for a nice 25% win at the SMA 200. PAVS on the 8th. Let's have a look at it here because we had a lot of trades here, which we'll go over at a later time. Right, pump, 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 comes down. Here's a halt. Here's a halt. Here's a halt. Comes back up. Here's my entry right here. BP cover, 37% win on this one there. OCG. This one here is a very small win in the after hours. So most after hour wins, if it does like a full trade, is 20%. If not, our CMP is a profit target. So this is a very small win of 6%. I'll probably add a condition that if the CMP is close to entry like this, it skips this as a profit target, and it should have hit the end of the day, which would have been right here. Roughly the same price anyways. CCTG. Let's have a look at this one. All right, very, very busy. Let's have a look. The busy is on the 9th, so we'll come back to that one. All right, so big pump, also armed for a MMP, both triggered on this right here, and you play whichever one you like. More or less, both entries are the same. Trade share is the same. This is a profit target, 20% or 40%, and the MMP did the 40. BP is set for 20 after hours, is because, like I said, it doesn't really have that time to scale out or the fade. CHAI. On the 8th, this one here, so you'll see a double minus 50% here, but we only take one trade. So this is our position right here. So you only take the BP 7K first. We almost took profit, and then it pumped and it stopped us out. So we only got stopped out of one, not both. MDIA. Also on the 8th. Like I said, the 8th was wild. We have tons of trade. Okay, so over here, right? Halt, 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 halt right here. You do your limit order here. So which means that you would have gone in at the opening candle over here, and you would have taken cover at the CMP right here for a nice little win of 21%. So this trade happened right here. So it's the same percentage, 21%. ITOC, where are you? Right here on the 8th. Right, so here we come. Arms, BP entry, cover right here at the 40%. Huge win. Just gonna make a note here. So I just added the MMP strategy here to the indicator this morning. So as I'm doing these replays, I'm just wondering why this here was not an entry for the MMP because it was armed. It should have been a position here, but I have some rules and I want to see what rules stop that out. So I'll be checking that after. ZCMD on the 8th. Right, here's the big pump. Here's my entry right here. 95, cover 0.79. And we covered at the SMA 200. And it will tell you right here where to cover, right? Cover SMA 200. And this will change dynamically. So, for example, if you have it at 40% at the start of this trade, and eventually the CMA reaches above the 40%, this will change from a profit target of a 40% to the SMA 200. So this changes dynamically, which is great. HUDI, I'm assuming it's right here, right? Big pump, close below VWAP. That's an entry at 124, and we cover right here at the CMP for a 10% win. BYAH on the 8th, which should be over here. Now, this one here only actually gave you one entry, even though we see two, just because of the halt here. So like I said, once it halts on an entry, you do a limit order. So all this here would not have been a trade because you did not get in. You would have gone in right here, okay? And then you would have gone out at this pivot right here, which would have been a nice win of 40%. This one here did not happen because of this here. PN. Have a look. Same thing with this one here. It comes up like this. This is a halting candle. You do your limit order. You enter on 2 candles after, and you cover right here at the SMA 200. And our profit target, it also shows a green line here. So sometimes you'll have a straight green line at 40%. Let's say it was right here, and then it will follow the SMA. So it changes dynamically, which is great. RYET. And here's this is unfortunately a stop out from all these halts, right? Pump, 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 halt up, enter here, but we took a 34% loss right here. AIM. And a lot of these were like under $1 stocks, which is very unusual. But really, you know, it's unusual. I haven't really been following them before the BP strategy, so there could have been lots of them that I don't know where. 'Cause when we did just the VW and the EACDV, there's no nothing under $1 or 75 cents. All right, pump right here. Boom, this is your entry. Cover at the SMA 200 for a nice 16% win. FRSX, let's have a look at this one here on the 8th again, right? Pump nice at around 835. You cover, short it right here at 276, cover at 205 for a nice win of 25%. Now this does, take a lot at the end of the day. We found that now that the PDT rule has been removed, there's a lot of more stocks that will hit a CMP and then pump, hit the SMA 200 and then pump because those are nice profit targets. So we no longer wait for the end of the day on BPs. Soon, this one here was also one had some big news, but let's have a look here. We had a MMP and a BP entry on this candle here. We got stopped out of 43%. Then later that day, we had a BP, which covered us right here for a nice 4% win. And we also had a REM trade that got triggered, but because we took the PB here, we don't take the trade of the REM. We won't take one unless you want to take all of them. That's up to you. But in our what we track is only one trade, but it would been a 32% win the following day. The REM Anything EXT DV is the following day, 10 o'clock is our profit target. LXEH. Let's have a look here on the 8th. So look at this right here. It pumps. It does our BP. Cross below the VWAP right here. Take profit at the SMA 200 at 147 for a nice win of 30%. And then over here, it halts right here. It never came back to the entry of the halt, so this is not a trade. This is not a trade. WAI. Let's have a look this here on the 8th, which is right here. Our indicators is pretty loaded. I think there's almost 3,000 lines of code, so sometimes it takes a little bit of time to load. Right, one candle of 73%. Close a little VWAP, enter 20% right here. Boom, nice 20% at the end of the day. And the last trade for June the 8th. Now, I was not able to play all of these because there was just too much and I was working. But I was able to get quite a few of these. Right, one candle here of 84%, close below the VWAP right, or sorry, the double red right here, and we cover at 20%. So on this day here, we grew our account by 25%. So we log everything like this. Right, so all of our trades are logged. These ones are yellow because they've been manually verified. So every time that I do a small tweak in the strategy, in the indicator, I have to check all the trades again to make sure that none of these were changed. So I went over all these before today, and these were all right here. So it shows 25.66%. All right, now let's have a look at June the 9th. So make sure everything's working here. Seems like it. All right, so this one here, same thing. We had two entries, but you only take the one. Okay, so we have BP and MMP, and boom, we covered the BP first right here. This would have been a nice 40% win. And then our MPP, if you were to take that one there, you covered here at SMA 200. A nice 33% win. But we only take the one. CNET on the 9th is right here. Is it a trade? No. Because it never came back up, right? To touch that. So it is not a trade. ELPW. And was there another one later on? I don't think so, no. ELPW. All right, here's a big pump right here. Closable VWAP is your entry, and your cover here is at the SMA 200. And this is what I'm talking about, the dynamic stuff. See how this was 40%? Then all of a sudden, profit target changed to the SMA 200, and it came back up like this. Whoop, right there. 107 for a nice 35% win. EPSM. This is also a very busy day. EPSM on the 9th. Oh, I got an error in my indicator. What? The error. Takes too long to execute. Come on. It was working like 2 seconds ago. EPSM. I literally tried them. Oh, there we go. That was very strange. Okay. So that's on the 8th. Now over here we had a this pump right here, 64% was just enough for me to enter below the VWAP right here at 198, and we covered at the SMA 200, right? Because the label tells you where to cover. And later on it pumped again, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? It hit the SMA 200. See, it hit the pivot right here. This monthly pivot, boom, 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 pumps, right? So we change our profit targets to sections or to the indicators that shows that it could pump or bounce off of. We have a BP right here, which would have been a stop out, and then we took the DV right here, and the DV covered the following day, 29%. So this one here would have been a 23, 29, and a minus 36. Still green on the day. CPOP, this was an interesting one. Okay, let's have a look at it. Oh, this is on the 9th. It was an easy, it was a 50% loss. Let's just remove these lines here. We don't need those anymore. So essentially it popped and it also armed. Mismounting pivot. We have an entry right here and we cover at 50%. We just got wicked out right here, which sucks. Just barely. And we'll go over the rest once we start doing the 10th. DAIC on the 9th, right here. These are nice, right? Just straight up, straight down. And I got my, oh, this one here. Yeah, this is the one where I'm going to change the CMP. That if it's so close, we skip the um, the cover of the CMP. Because even if it hit the CMP and it bounced off, sure, we took a 50% loss. But I see a lot of these where it just blows right through it and it comes right back down like this. So instead of being a 5%, this should have been, my entry is right here, 40%. Yeah, it would have been a 40%. HAIO. So look here on the 9th, which were today. That's the after hours. It pumped C1 candle 66%. Boom, boom. So this would have been covered at the 20% at the $1 mark. UK, let's have a look here. On the 8th or the 9th. Same story. Pumps, goes sideways a little bit. Here's my entry. Cover 20%. Or sorry, see this is the it was 20% until I changed a proper target to CMB. Right, this is only a oops, one sec. It's actually this candle right here. 1% win, but it did do the 20% way down here. So we'll be changing that for sure. And this is all based off rules, right? So it's very simple. You can just have to say like, hey, you know what, if CMP is, you know, within 10% of entry, skip that profit target. Boom, and it'll go to the following one. And then here we're on the 10th, GMM. So GMM here, pop right here like this. It's a loss of 37%. It pumps again, re-enter up here, and a win of 40%. So on the day, or on this stock here, we are green, and it also took a trade on the 8th here. GLE on the 8th. The GLE's been, you know, pumping up and down a lot, quite a bit past couple days. Finally slowed down today, but anyways, it pumps. It halts right here. Here's my entry, and get a cover at the CMP right here. And then watch, bounce off the SMA, comes back down, and then poop, pumps again. So we have new profit targets. AZI comes up like this. Here's your BP entry. It also does a MMP, and it tells you that your covers tell you like which strategy it covers. So the first BP did do 40%. This one here, we did not enter this because we're already here, 40%. And then it comes back up. It retests the VWAP. I like that. Entry, cover 40%. So this one here was a huge double win. All right, let's have a look at PAVS. This one here was the crazy one. A crazy one. Let's have a look. So, comes up like this. Enter on the cross below the VWAP, and we get stopped out right up here. So look here. Actually, our stop out is right here on the following candle, pretty much. Okay, so our stop out is the following candle. Minus 50%. So enter here, 50%, that's out. Now, it pumps again. Our entry on a BP is right here, and we get stopped out again. Then it comes up here. It shows a BP here, but unfortunately we don't re-enter this one because this halt, like it never touched the halt. As you can tell, the halt is here, the high is here, so we skip that entry. It produced a REM trade on this candle right here. It was also halt, but it came up and it touched the bottom left. So that was your entry because we do a limit order here. And well, you cover your REM trades the following day at 10:30. 94% win. Huge, huge win. So this almost covered both of these losses off of one trade. So big enough. And today, look where it is now. Obviously, this is your just Chinese garbage at 21 cents. So almost recovered all of our trade. GMEX on the 9th. Here it is, right? Boom, minus 42%. Now, if you were to trade this, like if you're at your screen trading this, may have done a half entry here because you know that the price may go touch the CMP. But I trade this strategy exactly as the indicator says it is because I have the data that shows that this is a profitable indicator. Sometimes you'll see a few of them that will like almost hit the CMP and tank, and those are the ones I'm going for. If I get stopped out on the odd one, just like it is what it is. All right, so pumped here in the after hours, and this is what I'm talking about where the after hours you don't have a lot of time to let the stock fade, right? Because we covered it in the day and it faded the following day. MSW, I remember this one here. This was a acquisition news, I believe, something like that, or merger, one of the two. It came up. Boom, here's your entry. Stop out minus 47% on the pump. Yule, this was an after hour, I believe, trade, a quick after hour one. On the yeah. Right? A lot of times there's the CMP is a magnet for the price, right? They just want to touch it, go above it, boom, boom, close below the VWAP, enter 20%. See, this is another one. I say 20% because I remember this one here when I first logged it was 20%, but I changed the entry or a profit target to the CMP. Right? This is another one. CMP 6% instead of 20. So I will be changing those real fast. HIHO on the 9th. So this one here, this would have been the entry, but because it halted down here, you do your limit order, you would have entered right here. Your stop out's way up here is nothing to worry about, and you cover at the CMP, 20% win. DXST on the 9th. Like I said, there are tons of trades. Halt down here, do a limit order. You have entered here and you cover at the SMA 200 for a 23% win. MSS, let's have a look at this one on the 8th, or sorry, the 9th, right? Comes up, here's a halt. It opens below the VWAP, that's your entry, and you cover at the CMP. 10% win. Right, and then once again, CMP within, yeah, I guess if it's more than 10%, this would have been a CMP exit. I may change the rule to 10% and test that out, see how it works. But look, you would have gotten the SMA 200 right here. 27%. It's all right. It's all right. MPU. They can't all be crazy massive winners. This strategy here is a numbers game. MPU. There's another one right here now. All right, comes up. This is a halt right here. It opened. It touched the the close of that halt. That's your entry, and you cover at the CMP 10%. These are nice quick trades. So this would have been pretty much same candle, following candle, boom, 10% win. JZXN. Let's have a look here on the 9th. This one here produced two strategies. We have here the BP. So this would have been your first entry. So we ignore the MMP. That's just in there for the data in our spreadsheet, and you cover right here. And the next one covers at the SMA 200. And same thing here. If you look at, yeah, there you go. I'm trying to figure out why this line here is not going up. Is this the? This is the 4%. That's right. It should go up like this and follow the SMA 200. So I'll make a note of that. Like I said, the MMP is one that has been recently added. This is just small visual quality of life for the indicator. the strategy actually it does work. It just you just did see that green line go up with the SMA 200. 54 exit 36, right? VP. Here's my entry. Boop boop. Right, SMA 200 is right here. That's your entry or your exit. CCTG is the last trade for June the 9th. This one here was actually a pretty crazy one. So let's have a look here. Okay. Comes up, BP, enter here. Here's your 40% profit. Pumps back up, close double red again here. That's your entry. You get stopped out minus 40%. Now let's have a look at this trade here. These trades right here. On this candle here, we have a REM because it separates with the EMA9, and we also have a BP. Okay. Unfortunately, the stock never came back to this close, so we ignored these two candles here. Halt, halt, halt like this. This one here comes here like this. This one here halts down. This is your entry candle. So you do a limit order at the price of this close, and you would have gone in right here. Stop loss is way up here, so we are safe on this big pump here. And then actually, even from here, the cover is from here to here. Right? So you would have entered from here all the way down to the SMA 200. The SMA 200 on this one here is 175. This has been a win of 31%. If my calculation is right, roughly 31%. Yeah. All right, so I did have it properly inserted in the spreadsheet. And that's it for the 9th. So that 9th is, if we were to take the spreadsheet like this, right, we have all the trades of the 9th in here. Actually, you know what? I have this one twice in here. Oops. A little bit of a mistake. Delete that. Yep, 21% on this day here. And this, by the way, is monthly. So far, we're at 154%. And I did not fully update today's trades. But you look at these. I think today they were all winners except for HUBC, which was a 10% loss. But a nice day for today. And let's just move along to the 10th. All right, let's have a look at CPOP. CPOP the 10th. This is a crazy one. And this is like the Chinese stocks. Like, this is wild. Let's have a look here. At open, this is right here. It pumps all the way up to roughly right. So a 731% win. And look, it comes here. See this I'm talking about? CMP bounce, come back up, comes down here, and just tanks back to 20 cents. This is crazy. Crazy. So anyways, let's have a look here. Comes out like this, BP minus 46%. Comes out like this, another trade right here, minus 50%. Now this one here is actually probably a little bit more because your stop loss is right here, but it opened at 124. So I actually got to modify that. So that exit here of the 77 is actually 124, not what the indicator says it is because of the halt. So this is actually a 6% loss or 60% loss, not a 50. Now it comes up here like this. This does a BP. This is the candle that closed. So you enter on this one here, and it does 40%, which is BP cover 40%. And it also does a REM. But the problem with the REM here is that we're already in a trade. So we ignore the REM because this REM would have actually been stopped out here. So you take the BP, you don't take the REM, and then over here, at the end of the day, a nice little BP trade for a 20% win right here. And then if you would have, held on to it, close. And sometimes one strategy that that I've seen that haven't coded it yet, or I don't know if I will, is a 3 pump. Look, pump 1, pump 2, pump 3. It could be in the same day, in 2 days. It could be in 3 days, like a 3-day pump, like every day it pumps a little bit higher. When it crosses the SMA 200, it starts to tank. So, following those rules, this would have been a 78% win, CMP. But we did not take that at all. None of us did. It's just something that we've looked at, that we're looking at actually for future strategies. On the 10th, this one here's after hours. It was a MMP and a BP on the same candle. One's 20%, one's end of day. 20%, 26%. Or actually, not end of day, CMP. Yeah, did it hit the CMP? No, it wants to, but it closed at the end of the day. FLD. Let's have a look here. All right, big pump, BP, entry, close at the SMA 200. Now you're probably wondering why I didn't close at here at the CMP. It's because it opened below it. So if it opens below it, it will never cover at it. Boom, there it is. QH. This one was it was nice during the day. It did a trade in the after hours that was stopped out and it ate all profits. So, boom, big pump, right? 180%. Cover here, or sorry, short here, cover at the SMA 200 for nice 37%. However, in the after hours, it pumped again. There's my close below the VWAP. Did it open 610? Yeah, it opened above the VWAP. So this here was just like, it's probably just a small decimal thing. We're talking about a penny. If this here would have opened 1 penny lower, this would not have been a trade. Because our condition, the stock, or sorry, the candle must be open above the VWAP and close below. And we got stopped out for a 50% loss. Not a big deal. DAIC on the 10th, right? This is an after hour pump. And see, this is exactly what I'm talking about with the CMP, right? This one here almost hits it, but it got rejected. 20% win. CLWT, right? It pumps like this, comes up, boom, here's my BP, and we cover at the SMA 200. Right, this candle right here, 27% win. DSI, this was also an interesting one. It went pretty crazy. So we have the BP MMP candle on this one here. Right, 2 trades triggered here, but you only take the one. 50% loss. Comes up here like this. We have a BP on this candle here. 40% win. So it does an MMP here and it does a DV here, but we skip those two because we are in a trade here. And then over here, it does another BP, 40%. We lost 50 to make 40 and 40. These ones here, we skip these. You skip this one here because we're already in the trade from the other BP. Whew. And then the DV here, if you were taking it, it's a 61% win the next following day. So lots of trades on this one here, and it ended up being, they're all winners except for the first one. Kids, KIDZ. See, another one that did not hit the CMP, and it tried to, but look, pump, troop, closable VWAP, cover right away, 27%. Very quick. EQ, this one here is Chinese. This thing's a halter. I don't even know why we trade this thing, but historically it's profitable, but it's a hit or miss. It's either a big win or a big loss. This one here is a big loss, 50%. So here's the pump. Here's my entry. 50% is right here. But see, we got wicked out. So for example, when Sean trades these strategies, he waits for the close above the stop. That way it doesn't get wicked out. So this one here, he would not have been stopped out. Nonetheless, it would have been a 6, just a small little 6% win. EDHL. This is we're looking at the 10th. It was very nice. After hours, pump, enter, close at our 20%. It's nice. CHSN. On the 10th. Pump, close, stopped out, and it tanked, which sucks. I hate when that happens, but it is what it is. GLE on the 10th. Let's have a look. Pump, big candle right here. Close below the VWAP. Cover SMA 200. And I think now it's pretty much done. It's done. I think this is going to go, well, it is pretty much done. It's under 50 cents. Reverse split time. WCT on the 10th. This one here was really nice. I like seeing these. Here is your MMP BP trade on the same candle. You enter. Here's your profit target, 40%. It hit the CMP, bounced off of the CMP, in between the CMP and the SMA, and this is the EMA. So lots of resistance area here. Came back up, retested VWAP, closed below other entry, and we covered this one here at the SMA 200 for a 28% win. So a 40 and a 28 on the same stock on the same day. The SME, this one is very unfortunate. It is a loss. So it comes up like this, double red, boom, that's my entry. See, once again, wicked out, tanked at the end of the day. So Sean would have not been wicked out of this one here because he waits. And then the SMA 200, this would have been a 40% win instead of a 50% loss. But because I don't watch charts all day, I need to set my stop loss or else that's how you blow up accounts. But look at that, 27, 13. So almost recovered all of our losses there anyways on that stock. BGLC. Boom here, close below VWAP, CMP. Done. Just like that, 21% win. HCAI on the 10th. Same story here. Big pump, close below, SMA 200, 32% win. CIIT on the 10th. Here's a pump. It armed our MMP. So when you see MMP armed here, it just means that it hit a missed monthly pivot at this time, right here at 254. Comes up like this. Here we have a double red BP entry or a close below VWAP MMP. Either way, they were both 40% wins, but we only look at one because you're in one trade at a time. S dot. This one here kind of sucked. It had volume and then it just freaking died down real quick. Halt. Actually, there's alt 28K. This, I don't even know why I entered this. There's no volume. But you need to have volume and volatility. So anyways, both here are trades. This one here you would have entered on this candle here because it halted, and we got stopped out here at 39 minus 39%. Not a big deal. And VWAP, the last trade for June the 10th. Wherever it is, it's right here at the end. Okay, VWAP. I thought I did a trade on this 10th. I lied to you. It's not the 10th. This is the trade. This is I have it on the wrong day. Yep. Let's just delete that from the spreadsheet. Got that on the wrong day because the 10th here, unless this is what I'm talking about here, let's do some calculation here. Yeah, no, not a trade. It didn't pump enough. Almost, but not enough. But either way, if it did pump it, we're missing by like 2%, it would have been a win. EDHL on the 11th. Okay, let's have a look at this. Armed BP entry right here. Boom. Comes up. That's a stop, by the way, of minus 45%. This halts. This closes with a VWAP. Triggers an MMP. I get my 40% right back. And at the end of the day, like I said, this year will probably no longer be trades because it's just too late in the day of 0.41%. So, and this is not including your locates fees. So, because I'm trying this with Trade the Pool, and we're hopefully going to be able to automate all this, which will be nice. GL on the 11th. Let's have a look here. Minus 50%. It halts down. Your entry is right here. It comes up and it triggers a REM trade right here. And the REM trade looked scary in the after hours because it pumped and you're down 40%, but it was a 23% win the following day. And then, 4% today. Yeah, this one here was a nice trade. ZNB. This one here was actually another trade today. Oop, that was nice. Let's have a look. Big pump, close below the VWAP, CMP. Boom, done. Just like that, 31%. CHAI. The 11th. Right? Big pump. Close. This was a bit of halt, so it would have opened right here. So you enter here and you close at the end of the day. Just a small 2.4% win. WTO on the 11th. We actually already looked at that. Really? I don't have it twice in here, do I? No. I'm just going back to see if we have it twice, but we don't. Anyways, pops. Maybe it's a different stock that we looked at. All right, pops. Close below VWAP. CMP. Come back up. CMP. Done. Done. 40 or 37 and a 23. No, it was a different stock that did that. BYAH on the 11th is a stop out. Right, here's the big pump, close with the VWAP right here, boom, minus 48, but we recuperate a little bit in the following day. GLXG, minus 40, plus 40, break even, plus 16, plus 16, minus 50 there. WHLR, this was a very quick trade. If I remember correctly. Right, in, out. Just like that, 10 minutes, 28% win. PPCB, this one here also had a lot of trades on the 11th. Let's have a look at what this turned out to be. Right, so it comes out like this. Arms, closed with a VWAP. There's my MMP and my BP entries. They're both identical trades. Down to the CMP. And look, CMP bounce. This is why I cover at CMPs now. Right, so I'll show you the cover. Now, it only shows BP cover because the MMP is right behind it. Comes back up. We see another BP trade. We enter right here, another 40% win. Or you could have taken the, I'll show what happened here. All right, let's have a look. Let's put this back on here. And then a DV trade after, but we are in one, so we don't take the other. And this BP was a 56% win. NCT, this one here was a unfortunate. It was a quick loss. It was lost like pretty much the following candle, and then it tanked right after. Right, boom right here, close here. We got wicked out, and then tank. Sucks because this was a 14% win. S&P 200 was a 30% win, but we got stopped out. And lastly, for this day here, Ruby, RUBI, on the 11th, which was a 16% win. And I'm pretty sure the stock here is cash flow positive, so which a lot of people don't short those ones, but once again, see below the CMP, enter, close the end of the day, 16%. Following day, minus 18, we got wicked, and there wasn't enough to produce a new entry, and it just tanked. That's it. So if we look at this here, on the 11th, we have 9.8%. And I guess the 12th is Friday, which is the last trade of the day for that week. So on the 12th, let's have a look here. We enter right here. It looked good until it didn't. Boom, stop out. And then over, so I'm just reading this here. Yeah, okay. And then over here, BP entry on this candle here. Cover at 40%. So this is almost a break even. And then today, right, we had 2 trades here, and they covered at the SMA 200. 4% win. BYAH on the 12th. So all these lines here, these are all missed monthly pivots. Everything in our thing's automated. We know that there's missed monthly pivots. It calculates everything. There's really not much thinking to do when you have this indicator here. And all our alerts are all here. Look, boom, cover, 29% win. The SME. Actually, today the SME was a win, and it was another win right here. Pump, short, almost stopped out. Cover at the SMA 200, which is a nice little win. Ruby, we had a look at that one recently because it happened the day before. This one here was a stop out, but it tanked right after, which sucks. But it happens. DSI, let's have a look at this one here on the 12th. Lots of quick pumps here. Close below the VWAP. and cover at the SMA 200 for 32%. Gem, have a look here. Ooh, right, pump straight up, cover close below the VWAP, cover SMA 200 for a nice 28% win. UBXG, this one here looked good until, well, it went pretty much flat. Right, here's your entry. Right, you're up 37%. You're like, ooh, it's almost there. Then bounce back up, closes flat, 5% win. That was very unfortunate. CITT on the 12. So this one here, close blue view over here. It comes down. It looks great until it doesn't. Stop out 34%. And then this day here, today, nice big candle, close with VWAP, enter, close at the SMA 200. We were able to recoup a little bit of our wins, but here we got a double 40%, so I don't mind that 34%. So that's it for the 12. 12 is a little bit of a slower day. It is Friday, but it is roughly a 7% trading day. So that's not bad, right? So we have, let's just go back here and just calculate our profits for that week. So 25, 21, 12, 9, and 6. So that's a 76%. I guess so, eh? So the math don't lie. Huge day or huge week, but there is a lot of Chinese stuff. So, anyways, if you like what you see, we trade. So in our Discord, we have kind of like two groups. We have one where elite traders, where it's our chat plus our scanners, and then you can get the indicator. Now, this indicator, you only have to trade it based on the entries and the exits. You do not need to learn candle patterns. You don't need to learn anything. I trade this exactly as it is, and right now I'm using Trade the Pool because there's no locate fees, no overnight borrow fees. I can take every single trade because if you do it with a broker, you need to look at the fees. They may be too expensive, may not be available. With Trade the Pool, you can do everything. So I am testing it out with Trade the Pool. I am funded. I am just waiting to get my first payout and see how that goes out. Well, we'll see how that goes. So far, so good. It's doing very well. And then we do have our mastermind where we actually teach you how to trade pivots, resistance, and that's done with Sean. He is an amazing short seller. So we are partnered together. He does all the live trading. I take care of all the indicators and all the rest of the stuff. But anyways, if you like what you see, head over to Discord. We do have a 7-day trial for the elite traders, so you will have access to the signals. And the signals, they kind of look like this, right? So we have our BP signals. So it'll tell you when it's setting up. That way you get your order ready, and it tells you when to get in. And it's also going to give you some warnings here. And we're always updating this. Like, so in between this morning, and here I made a small update where when it says warnings, I want to make sure that I know which one is giving me the warning of. So we made a little bit of an update here, so it tells you what stock it is. WLTS, right? And then today we had what? Let's have a look here. NIX. That was a nice win. It doesn't say. So like I said, I'm still tweaking the MMP. Oh, this was a MMP trade, I think. Anyways, I'll have to look at that again. But anyways, cover this one here for a nice 40% win. We covered here for a 39% win. We covered this for an 18. Covered here for 20. Covered this for 13. CPR 40, and we have a 16, 8, 16, 27, and the only loss today was a 10% on HUBC. So all the alerts going to be right here, and we have the yeah, there it is. See NIX and CUPR, right? Those are both of our MMP alerts for today. All winners. So anyways, if you like what you see, head over to Discord, and we'll see you there.